Welcome to A Well-Designed Business with your host, Luanne Negara. Luanne has a lifetime of experience building a multi-million-dollar business with her husband and cousin, and she knows the challenges you face in your interior design business. Luanne brings you real-life answers to your most pressing problems, as well as practical strategies to explode your interior design business. So, let's get to the business of interior design.
Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. On the show today, I'm going to introduce you to Blanche Garcia. You may know Blanche from Season 6 of Design Star on HGTV, or as the principal designer for 5 seasons on the popular travel channel series Hotel Impossible. But you might not know what a true powerhouse of a businesswoman she is. Today, you are going to get to know Blanche Garcia, the focused, purposeful business owner. Blanche is a certified interior designer with more than 22 years of experience in residential, staging, and commercial design. Her firm, Garcia Designs, is based in Montclair, New Jersey. She is a Green Design Lead Accredited professional, and she is a member of ASID, and she is a Well AP design professional. This Well AP was a new thing to me, new information. I hadn't seen or heard of that connected with any other designer before. And during the interview, Blanche will give us a little explanation about what Well AP means. Blanche's client list ranges from members of the New York Jets to the Real Housewives of New Jersey to corporations, restaurants, hotels, nightclubs, and homes all over the world. She has been featured in Wall Street Journal, The Huffington Post, U.S. Magazine, Redbook, Small Room Decorating, Latina, Design New Jersey Countryside, New Jersey Monthly, and more. During the show, Blanche describes how she actually still does her own books. Now, we all know that we do not all have that finance gene in us and that we're not all really always capable of doing our own books. Lord knows it's not my zone of genius. And if you happen to be more like me than Blanche, then maybe FreshBooks is for you. Our sponsor, FreshBooks, has created an accounting platform that is specifically designed for the creative entrepreneur, meaning it's built for us, not for the finance brains. So you know what I always tell you. You might not love doing your books, but that doesn't mean that you can just ignore them. You have to be a grown-up about it and you got to do them. And FreshBooks might just be the help you need to understand and to do them effectively. So go to www.freshbooks.com/Luanne for your free offer as a listener of the podcast. Okay, now doing our own books is just one way in one reason why you will be impressed by Blanche Garcia. So I'm going to introduce her to you right now so you can find out all the other reasons to be impressed by her. Hi, Blanche. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. I think it's so funny that we're both here 15 minutes apart from each other with traffic. And this is the first time we're meeting.
I know, via all the world of technology.
I know, right? It takes I think the first way I started to be connected to you was through Barbara Viteri, right? Designer. You guys do stuff together. I do stuff together with her, right?
Yes, it's a small design world.
Yes.
Barbara and I connect on a lot of stuff, and we always try to just keep an eye out for each other, like if there's something coming up interesting. So she had told me that she had worked with you as well, and she was like, "Oh my God, you have to go on her podcast." Blah blah blah.
Right. And then you were also on Mark's podcast of Tastefully Inspired, my buddy Mark McDonough, right?
Yes. And then I worked with Mark. Yeah, he's great. I love working with him.
I know. So it is funny, and the thing is, normally I'm amazed that there you are in San Diego and we've been connected by this and that. But here it's I'm amazed the other way. We're literally 2 towns apart from each other.
I know, right? Back in the day, they'd be like, you guys can just drive to each other's house, right?
Exactly. Now we have to talk on Instagram and Skype and everything else.
I know. We have to set up meetings 12 different ways on social media before we can talk.
I know, it's true. So anyway, here's the thing. I am... I always research my guests despite who told me what, this and that and the other thing. And I went through your introduction, your bio in the introduction, and, you've got the Hotel Impossible and, HGTV and Better Show and Daytime and Housemarts and all these things. But I'll tell you what caught my eye is that you do a lot of speaking at industry events. And one of the things that you speak on is you share your proven methods for surviving your interior design business. I think it's a great title, by the way.
Yes.
But you go through, the process of bidding a project and writing a contract and, maintaining order over the project and making sure you get paid. And I thought, whoa, okay, so we're not going to talk about TV with Blanche. We're going to talk about business.
I love business. Business is one of my favorite things to talk about. Like a lot of designers, I think, really are more the creative, and they'll either have a business partner or they'll come out straight and say to you, like, I'm not a business person. And I'm really the opposite, where I love the business end of it just as much as I love the creative.
Yeah. So I'm in my happy place right now. I'm just going to tell you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Fantastic.
Yeah. So the thing is that on the show, I often have a conversation with a designer about their, business and la, 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 la. And then by the time, we get to how do you actually do the stuff, then it's already 45, 50 minutes. And so I'm like, we're going to cut right to the chase here. And I think
that's what I like.
Yeah. And I think a lot of designers are going to be like, yes, thank you.
Let's get past the fluff.
That's it. So talk to me a little bit about when you do your presentations to industry, ASID, WCAA, all these places that you go out and you help your colleagues and you really impart what you've learned in your 28 years in this industry. What do you start with when you talk to them about running their systems and the business side of their business? How do you open that conversation, Blanche?
I always try to connect with them first, and I like to connect with anybody. I think that people are more receptive to any type of conversation is when you speak to them and not at them. Mm-hmm. And that's clients and that's anybody, because I don't come in like, oh my God, I'm like, designer Jesus, and I'm just going to tell you what, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. That's not really my angle. I just come in and I'm just like, lady, I'm just like you, like we're similar. We just have different ways of going about things. And if, maybe you show me a little bit of you and I show you a little bit of me, and if we can connect, then we understand that we're kind of in this together. So I always look to connect with people first, and then I go from there, and I really don't talk about practices and things like that on a super technical level. Mm-hmm. Everything for me is very hands-on, user-friendly. Everything that I talk to people about are things that I do myself. I'm not a hands-off person. I'm a natural DIYer when it comes to a lot of design stuff. So for me, even my business is very hands-on. I don't talk about or teach or ask somebody else to do something that I don't know how to do.
Okay. So it sounds like that you probably, being that you do really truly enjoy the business side of it, that you, whether at this point in your career you have a bookkeeper or an accountant and all of those things, you probably have a handle on how to evaluate your business and its health and its profit and loss and so forth.
Yeah, I run my books. So I have a bookkeeper that does my reconciliations quarterly. And even though my accountant would love it if she did them monthly, I'm too busy. So I write all my checks, and I know what's in my bank account at all times and what is supposed to come in and what's not supposed to come in and whatnot. I assess my taxes. I go over with my accountant what the next year holds and what we're going to put in the kitty for this and that. We run a lot of those different reports, and I'm always checking in with the health of my business to make sure like what's going on and where can we streamline things. Sometimes like when I sit down, I'm like, okay, but how can I do this better? So I'm one of those people that really, like my bookkeeper's like, she works with a lot of different designers. She's really great, and I've had her forever, but she is mobile. So she never comes into my office, and I send her everything. And she's like, you're just one of those people that, you take in such a large volume. We're doing hotels. We work in different states. Sometimes I've worked in different countries. I also do like the media side of my business, the book side of my business. So there's a lot of different layers to what we do, and it all funnels through me.
Okay. And how do you... So I wanted to just establish that that's important, that to have an understanding of the health of your the financial health of your business, and that you do have a handle on that. But going beyond that, you just mentioned that you are doing huge hotel projects and things like that. But I also happen to know, you just mentioned to me off air, that you're a firm of you plus four, or you including you four.
Me.
Yeah. Okay. So like now we got to talk about that.
I know. No, that's one of the reasons. The reasons I ended up in public speaking, or I mean, I love what I do and I love, the TV end of it and the public speaking end of it. But the reason I started doing these sessions was actually because a lot of the students that come to me for mentorship, I get a lot of them, and I get a lot of them older designers that have been in the industry, very seasoned designers that come to me that I end up have worked on projects with or just know me, and they're like, Blanche, how do you run this many projects, do your own social media, do your TV stuff, do your public speaking, do your book stuff, and literally there's only a handful of you. Like, how does that even happen?
Right.
And you still have a life. Like, I cut off. Most of the time I have my weekends free. I spend time with my fiance, my family, my dog. Like, I have a life. I meditate. I go to the gym, a couple days a week. So they're like, how does that happen? And so that's how I ended up talking about it, because I set it up with Schwartz Design Showroom. We did a series and it just got such a great response, because a lot of designers out there, let me backpedal. There's a lot of speakers out there or business gurus in the design industry that will tell you how to do things, and they have apps and they have different shortcuts and they're amazing at it. Really, they truly are. But for me, I'm actually living it, and I'm doing it in a large scale with a small amount of crew and that type of thing. So a lot of the designers are like one or two people, they're working out of their home,
Right.
or they have an assistant. So they're just like, how do we make our business so streamlined that we have a life?
Right.
We get paid on time, like you get paid on time. And also we are able to do more and do our social media. I can barely catch my breath, they tell me. So it just kind of happened.
So tell us about it then. So for instance, because I'm almost 300 interviews at this point on this podcast. And typically when a designer on the other end of the microphone says to me that they are doing, 10, 15, 20 projects at a time, and that a lot of them are big scale projects, hotel and large residential projects and so forth, that usually is with a team of anywhere from 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 people. Mm-hmm. So tell us, what is the difference there, Blanche? What is happening that you are able to do, like you said, not only the design end, but you're taking time out now to speak to us. In another couple of weeks, you're going to speak to the WCAA. I mean, how are you, and you are having a weekend. So how, break it down. Like, what is the secret sauce on there? Is it the people that you have in place? Is it the management that you have? Is it the systems that you have? What's the deal?
For me, it's really, like I said, I'm a business person. So I think a lot of designers, got into the business and they were like, my fantasy is that I'm going to spend hours picking furniture and fabrics, and I'm going to go shopping with clients. I'm going to have full shopping days, and we're going to talk and we're going to hang out. And then I'm going to go to industry events, and I'm going to schmooze, and I'm going to, those are all things most designers got into this business for. Those are my worst nightmares, FYI. That is the opposite of what I enjoy doing. I wake up and I say to myself, like, where am I going to put my focus? And I make sure that the things that I do either fuel my passion or make me happy, make me money. And I make sure that when I focus on one thing, I focus on that and I finish it before I move on to the next thing. I'm really big into lists and just checking things off. And, when we do our presentations or work with our clients, I rarely I don't shop with my clients. First of all, those are time eaters. I try to get into their head and assess what they want and things like that and check in with them. And I bring stuff to them. I give them decisions that they can make. I cut my proposals down to our contracts. I'm like, these are the meetings that we are going to have. Anything above and beyond, I'm going to charge this. So I'm very methodical about my time. So they know that if they're wasting my time or whatnot, that it's not going to make sense for both of us. Mm-hmm. I'm not the designer and that is going to go shopping for one lamp and take 6 months. We pull the whole project in 3 presentations. We've either designed the whole hotel, the whole house or whatnot. And we met with you on all of it because I want to get the project in and out. I want to be creative when I want to be creative, but then I want to get into motion and let's keep it going, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've taught my clients, this is how I work. And, you know, just like there's a different hairstylist for every client, I may not be that designer for you if you're really looking for that like hand holding and you want to go shopping and, you know, all that stuff. If you need that, then I'm not that. But my clients that I work with are either they have large projects, they need to get them done in a certain amount of time, or hoteliers, developers. I work with, you know, a lot of off-campus housing for Rutgers, and they are teams of people that they appreciate. Like, okay, we're making decisions, we're making them on the fly, we're making plans. You know, my turnaround time is very quick. I try to, like, when things come into me, I try to get them done as soon as possible, or I tell my clients, like, let me get back to you in the next day or two. And I really try to, like, you know, if they need me, they can get a hold of me, but I put parameters and stuff. So I think on the project end, I'm very methodical and I'm very aware of what I take in. I also am very quick. So because I worked on Hotel Impossible, I worked on HGTV, you know, from a TV world, you have to do things super quick.
Right.
We had 72 hours to design and implement a lot of times on the show. And I would be in the middle of nowhere, Costa Rica, you know, the jungles of like anywhere. I would be all over the world, and I would only have a certain amount of like hours or days. When you have to design at that type of quickness and you have to kind of, you get like $1,000, you get $5,000, you have to find your own contractors and X, Y, and Z. You get really good at figuring it out really quickly.
Mm.
And that's really helped apply it to my projects. So where I was quick before, I'm even more quick now. And on my personal end, just running stuff, you know, I'm just kind of like, I make lists upon lists, and my lists give birth to little lists. And then I make sure, and then I prioritize and I go, oh my God, Blanche, you have 30 things on your list today. So what are you going to concentrate on? And I take my top 10. I'm like, if I don't put these fires out, they're going to burn the village down. So we're going to put them out. And then maybe these two, I move to the next ones. I have reminders in my phone. It clicks off 2:00. I have a phone call, or I have to pull together, you know, light fixtures for the bathroom, alternates. If I didn't do it by 2:00, I reset that alarm for 4:00. If I didn't do it at 4:00, I reset it for 9 a.m. the next day. It doesn't go away until I do it.
Mm. Okay. So tell me about what happens. Now, I understand when you work with hoteliers and the colleges and universities, because I get that they want the timelines and they're not going to be putzing around and saying, oh, show me 15 more lamps. I get that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but tell me what happens. Say you do work for a residential client, and that residential client was exactly your ideal client and was a quick decision maker and understood your processes and everything, but they refer somebody to you. And within whatever amount of minutes or hours in conversing and meeting with them, that you recognize that this isn't really the sort of person that is understanding, you know, the way your process is going to work, or you start to get those red flags. Do you cut it short? How do you express the way that the pace that this is going to go and that the level that this is going to be carried out at? Because that's what I'm thinking of. There's somebody out there that's saying, yeah, I want jobs like that too, but everybody I meet wants to like go on every single shopping trip with me. How do you just say that's not happening, period, stop, I'm not your girl, go get a different girl?
Yeah, you teach people how to treat you.
Right.
And it's simple. It's a really simple basic. When you start giving your power away and making decisions and deciding to take on projects that really don't fit in, and you can see that it's going to be a car crash down the road, then you avoid it. Now, the other thing you can do is modify. You can say, okay, maybe it's an important project. Maybe it's a large project. Maybe they're nice people. They seem super nice. You know, Jack and Jill seem adorable, but you can tell it's their first project, and it's like they're not going to keep in line. So you put in processes, you put in extra pricing for them. You say, listen, normally I have 3 different design meetings, but maybe for you, we put in 5. But in those 5 meetings, I'm going to bring to you X, Y, and Z. Do you need a shopping trip? Okay, let's put in shopping, 3 shopping days, this and that. I mean, you can put in things that you still can keep it within working order and modify and get pricing and budget the way you need to make yourself feel comfortable, but you still need to be in control, right? So you can't just be like, all right, I'm going to take this on, but God forbid they're going to like rake me over the coals. It's like you still have to check in and be like, okay, I thought we said we were going to do this. Do you need another this? Because if I'm showing you in a presentation like 30 different lamps and you can't pick one that you like, we have a bigger issue here. Like we have a bigger issue because I'm not showing you 30 lamps that I think are super cute like your Aunt Eileen.
Right.
I'm showing you 30 lamps that fit within your budget, your size, within a shipping sort of time frame. So what am I not getting here, you know?
Right.
So I try to put in like, you know, fail safes. I had a client who said to me, before she hired me last year, she said, I'm just a little nervous because it's like, what if I can't decide in this, or what if this and what if that? And I think like, you know, will you work with me a little bit? And I said, okay, why don't we put in an extra meeting or two if we need it? I was like, and at any point, if I go to her and I bring her a presentation, I've never had a client not like 90% of what I've showed them. So if I come to them and they're like, I hate everything, Blanche, you sucked. I would be like, all right, we should maybe part ways because I didn't get you at all.
Right. That's a bigger problem is your point, right?
Yeah. And that's fine. And and it's okay to say to people when you meet them and you get red flags, I could read people probably within the first 5 minutes, right? I think we all do. Just some people ignore it.
Right. Right.
So when I meet with people, I always can say to them, listen, I just don't think it's the right project. I just think it's not the right fit for me. Now, when you have slow moments in your career, when you're starting out, you can't really do that. And I totally get that. When that happens, you just have to still put in parameters. Just because you need to take the project doesn't mean you have to give up control. So I think that that's like the big, you know, takeaway for me to talk to other designers is like always maintain the control, whereas you're leading them and they're not leading you, because then it becomes like an issue. That's not what they want either. They're like children in a way. And I don't mean that like, you know, you're a baby, but everybody wants, like if I'm trusting a professional, let's say I hire a realtor or I'm hiring a wedding coordinator, right? I don't want to be like telling them what to do all the time. I hired them for their expertise. So I may not always agree with them, but I want them to come to me and be like, no, Blanche, this isn't right. Like, yeah, you have to like know who you are, or else what am I doing? Am I just throwing money out the window for an expert that's not really an expert?
Right, right, right. No, I agree. And your analogy to children is correct. Is, you know, children want to be corralled and raised well. And so your analogy is the same thing with clients. They're coming to you because they respect your expertise and your professionalism. And if you don't bring that, then it feels like they don't have discipline in their life, a child without discipline.
Well, they don't trust you.
Right, exactly. Like, it's like, what's happening?
Yeah, I tell designers all the time, it's like when you go in, even new ones, students that just graduate or going in, big difference. Client says to you, so what do you really think about this color? Your response A, I mean, I think I like it. I mean, what do you think? Okay, response B, I love this color. I just think that it really sets off the cushion fabric. I think that it's exactly the mood that you were thinking of. I think the light when you hit it at night is going to feel this. In my opinion, I really think that it's the right fit for you, but let me know how you feel.
Right. Awesome.
You know?
Right. Exactly. Because it's what you said. They're hiring you because they want the expertise and the advice. And what to your point with even a designer coming out of school, they just came out of 4 years of school. No matter how much you have yet to learn, you know more than the woman across the table from you that's never been to design school. Right?
Yeah. And I always tell people, fake it till you make it. It's not a bad thing. You know, like I started in this business, I was 17 years old and I was going to houses asking people for thousands of dollars.
Right. Right. I was 20 doing the same thing, by the way.
And I looked like an embryo and I was like, give me your money, you know? And I did not know everything, nor do I know everything now, but I knew one thing for sure. I knew that when I walked in, I had to exude confidence and I had to at least know what I was talking about. And if I didn't know it, that I could get the answer. Right. And so like that goes a long way, you know, people respond to that type of stuff. Now, granted, when you have certain clients, everybody runs into problem clients or issues with clients, and you're going to have those come to Jesus conversations. You know, you just have to like, when I've talked to designers and I've trained them where they go to me, I feel like I'm losing control of the project. The client is walking all over me. I'm floundering. I feel nervous to meet with them. I don't want to get on the phone with them. And I'm like, hold the bus. Like, hold it. Like, why are you continuing? You need to talk to them, communicate, express how you feel, what your expectations are, or you don't move forward. Like, what are you doing? Like, why show up to work?
Right, right. Exactly. So tell me a little bit about when you have your initial conversation, so what I heard in there, and this is what I want to get to, when I asked you the question to begin with, how do you frame it, and what happens when you see the red flag, and your answer in the middle of what you said was, when I see and notice that, I might say to that client, well, maybe instead of the 3 project meetings that are typical for my process, you'll need 5, So do you have that implies to me that when you first meet with a client, tell us about your first process of meeting with a client where you tell them and you teach them how they're going to fit within your system. Tell us some of the things that are in addition to there's going to be 3 project meetings, and what are some of the other parameters that you put out when you meet a first client? And let's talk residential for now.
Residential, I really listen. I go and I take a look at the project. And when I go to a consultation, I don't charge for my consultations because I'm not going to solve their problems when I'm there. That's not like pick my brain session. And if we're going to do one of those, you have to pay me before I leave. So I always let clients know when they set up a meeting, they're like, oh, do you charge? And I'm like, I don't charge to come and take a look at your project. I do charge if you want me to come over and you're going to ask me 80 questions about your house, your cousin's house and whatnot, and show me your Pinterest board.
I like that. You know what? I have to stop you right there. I have to stop you right there because you know what? So many designers have said to me, I struggle with because I feel like in my area or my expertise level, I'm not at the point. And of course, for you, it's not about expertise. You're making a decision not to charge, but they feel not ready to say that they charge for the consultation, or they're not ready to charge as much as they should. But then they're upset because they've given away so much information and they leave feeling a little sort of taken advantage of. And so what I love is your distinction is that up front on the phone, you say, there's no charge for the consultation. I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to see your home. You're coming to make your assessment. But if you as the client want to pick my brain and ask me 10 questions about that assessment, then yes, there's going to be a charge for that. That's what you're telling us.
Yeah, and I ask them which one they would like to do, and that's fine. Up front, I'm like, I'm going to come, I'm going to take a look at your space. You're going to tell me your issues, your plans, your dreams. I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to connect with you. And I'm going to tell you how I work. And if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you how I've solved problems in the past for other clients. But I'm not there to do the work for you because that is what you're paying for, the intangible, the stuff that's not, I can't sell you a table while I'm there. So I can, but that's not what I'm there. I'm not coming there with like a whole catalog and I'm like, buy this and that's how I make my money.
Right.
I make my money on my expertise and my professional background. So once you start tapping into that, I have to charge you. So I ask them what they want. And then I tell them basically that, if you do want to pay me for my services, I would just need, this is my fee and this is how much you would need to give me before I leave. Not like I'm going to bill you and then you send me a check, or I may not get a check and I'm looking at my mailbox going, I wonder where that money went. You need to give me the check or cash before I leave. I don't take credit cards.
I love that too. This is how much you'll need to give me before I leave.
Yeah, be prepared.
Well, see, the thing is, what this is it's about being specific and having agreements. These are 2 words that I love. I love these words.
And it keeps you, it keeps you out of trouble.
That's right.
It keeps you out of trouble. Like, why the guessing? Why am I going to spend hours thinking about is it the right price? I feel like they took advantage of me. You can't get taken advantage if you're specific up front.
Right.
And if you have, just say no. Just say no. I can't do that. I just say no. It's very easy. And no, I can't do that. So I always am like, you always want to give a little bit, but you don't give the whole house away. And then when I meet with them and they ask me how I charge, I go, listen, every project's different. I'm listening to you, how you want to work. I'm not an hourly type chick. I said I can do it for certain clients that keep me on retainer that, run multiple different buildings or projects and need to pick my brains on different things. That's different. And even on my hourlies, I take a retainer up front. So I'm never chasing money. But if you want a cohesive project, I do things as a whole, design as a whole, as a plan. And I explain to them that whether you're going to afford to do 1 room now or 12 rooms, I like to design everything as a full picture, from paint colors and fabrics and furniture and built-ins and things like that. And I assess from them, are we doing kitchen designs? Are we doing bathrooms? Do you need me to go showroom shopping, or are you comfortable with me bringing items to you? How are you in decision making? And I let them know, we give them a budget during our presentation. I'm like, at your presentation, I'm not going to just show you a pretty picture. You're going to know how much each item costs. This is my markup. you know how much it costs. If you want to order from me, that I charge a fee for. So I tell my clients I do it in phases, right? So I go, my design is my design. My creative has a price all of its own. So you're paying for the design of, let's say, a room, to include everything, the specifications, the finishes, the materials, and the budget and the layout, right? Now you want to finish that. And you go, you know what, Blanche, I don't want to work with you anymore because I have a cousin in South Carolina and I can get all this furniture for free. I'm like, great, take the plan. You paid me for my creative service and go do you.
Right.
Now, if they say to me, well, here's the, this looks amazing. Now, this seems like a lot of work. I don't think it's unreasonable for you to manage all of it. I'm going to order everything through you. I understand your purchasing fee, and that's what we're going to do. So then that's separate. If they want me to project manage, that's separate. So everything's very a la carte. And so clients, we kind of put together packages based on each project needs. So even though I work with those type of processes, I do zhuzh it to accommodate different client projects.
So do you mean when you say that the first is the creative, I understand that. The second is
Right.
I want to order everything through you. And then a third and separate item of your billing structure is project management. So for instance, you could just place all the orders, have them all drop shipped to the house and not uncrate and not place and not be involved in not all that. And then, but the other is managing all of the delivery of that. What are you talking about there?
Well, so when they purchase an item, my fee includes ordering the item, managing the item, and getting it delivered and making sure it's there and safe, and any problems that come up with that item. That's included in my fee.
Okay.
So if you ordered everything through me, I'm there the day that it either arrives or we set it up with an outside delivery company that I'm there when it arrives and I make sure it's all set up. That's included in the purchasing fee. Okay. Managing the project management is if we are doing like painting, we're doing lighting installations, we're doing other things, flooring refinishing. Those are things that take up time throughout the 3-month period, 6-month period that your contractor is going to have to call me on, you know, those type of things. They're not like items we purchase that I'm there just for delivery. They're calls throughout, you know. So right now we're doing a master bathroom design. My clients we did a project package for them that included the design, but they also wanted project management. So we did the design in that package, but I also included a certain amount of months of project management where they can call me, email me at, you know, that's all included. And it includes 2 site visits per month. And then their contractor can also FaceTime and email me and whatnot. So those are the things that, like, because when we start tomorrow, demolition actually, you know, barring the snow. But when they start doing stuff and they're like, oh my God, Blanche, we opened the wall and this pipe wasn't supposed to be here, blah, 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 all those decisions and things, the client's not going to know what's going on. And so they call me, and that's included in a project management.
Okay. So they're not necessarily your trades. They may or may not be. But the point is that, like you said, if that wall gets open and now he has to put a soffit somewhere, the client doesn't know. Is that the only option? Is that going to work with the aesthetics and yada, yada? So you're there to handle that. But the client could not have you do that, in which case, if the contractor calls you, you're like, sorry, not my problem.
Well, I mean,
I don't need to be cool.
I'm just like, I'm like,
No,
oh, hey, Jack. I'm like, yeah, that pipe's not supposed to be there. Why don't you call this person? But I'm not going to have 5 emails for it and
right.
follow
You're not
up
going to
and
get
call the
sucked
plumber.
into it. Right.
Exactly. And so I separate that because that's not part of the creative, right? We already did the design, and that's not part of, like, I purchased the finished like toilet, but the toilet's not there.
Right.
And on my trades, I don't charge on top of my trades. My trades don't come through me. I recommend the best people that I can, and I help my client with the bidding process when we get into project management, but I don't charge on my tradespeople because I want them, the best people, to get the job that can. And I'm not, you know, once you take on, understand that once you charge as an umbrella your tradespeople, you're taking on their liability. And first of all, Mama is a designer. She's not like a lawyer, and she's definitely not going down because Joe Schmo plumber forgot to like turn off the water.
Okay.
It's like literally not happening. So I'm just like, you know, keep in your lane, know what you do best. You know, of course I could charge on top of everything and made a ton of money, but what are you going to get in trouble with? Where do you want to put your efforts? What makes you happy? You know what makes me happy? Being creative. Selling furniture doesn't really make me happy. So I tell people I'm not Crazy Eddie's. I'm not like Levitt's. I'm not whatever. So
all these really Jersey references.
Yeah. I don't really need to buy your furniture because it's super tedious. Now I'll do it. and I'll do it for a fee, and I'll make sure that it's very white glove service. But my love is the design, the creative. And yes, I love the project management. So that's where mostly our fees go. And we've really situated our work to be like that. Now, as we give our clients the option to purchase through us or not, and we're very transparent about our markups. And honestly, we tell our clients, like, if we found the piece for you, that was part of the design when we selected it and specified it, but you can buy it on your own. I mean, you can look anywhere, the internet. Once we tell most clients, I would say that most of our clients purchase 90% through us. And I never have an issue where I'm just like, it's so weird, they went and bought it somewhere else for $1 cheaper. And I'm like, power to you.
Yeah, right. Now, but let me ask you about that. Are you not running into that problem, Blanche, because you're using almost exclusively trade resources for the things that you suggest? Or are you not running into that problem because of the way, the way you've set your business up and the way you've taught people to work with you?
The latter. I'll buy things from anybody. I'll buy things from IKEA, online, trades. I mean, I love my tradespeople, but if I can get a better price somewhere else, I'll get a better price. If I think it's easier, there are times even with lighting where if you go through a large lighting manufacturer, but you're a designer, or even ordering through a trade, which I do support my tradespeople, right? But let's say I need it in a week. The lighting company can't get it for me in the week. The trade pay place can't get it for me in the week. I look online. That light fixture is in stock for the same price, maybe $5 even less than if I went through my tradespeople. I'm going to get it online.
Mm-hmm.
And my client knows I get it online, and they can get it online. I tell them, you want to buy it? Here's a link. But they'll say, oh, I'm so busy. Can you do it? And I'm like, that's cool. I'm going to charge this percentage. And that's what we do.
Okay. So then it sounds like, again, that it comes down to a specific upfront agreement. Whether I buy something for you that is from a trade source or a retail source, if I do the buying, you are going to pay me X percentage over that advertised price. I don't care. Like, in other words, because I think what happens is,
yes,
right?
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's
Okay.
exactly right. Meaning that my service is to purchase it through me, to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
My service is not to get you the cheapest price out there. And I tell them, like, we will try to find the cheapest price that we can find, but you're never going to get a price from us and go, wow, Blanche, your company beat all the prices that I could find on my own. That's it's not going to happen.
Right.
You can probably either get a better price or my net price would be better, but you're not able to get my net price. So what I'm charging you is for my time, my effort. We spend as much time, if not more, on an issue with a lamp that cost us $100 than on a sofa that costs $8,000.
Right.
And so, like, what's my markup on that lamp that I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I always let them know. I'm like, if you really wanted to pay me hourly to do this, it's going to cost you more. And there are times where I've explained to clients the difference in how much more it would cost them hourly versus percentage. And I give my clients the opportunity to buy it on their own, because for me, it's just a service thing. If you want me to service this item for you, you have to pay. Just like if you go into a retail store, you have to pay the retail company because they're getting wholesale or they're buying it through their people.
Mm-hmm.
I just learned a long time ago that I really don't want to be wasting my time chasing my clients, wondering why they're going to go to somebody else when I just, specified this one lamp for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I going to argue and spend my time? It's not where I want to put my energy.
Mm-hmm. So do you find that, because all of it is logical, but there's always the person that will say, I love your design. I paid you for your design, but I am, not interested in paying you a percentage over,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then it sounds like, so there has to be a point where, when, say you have a client that is it ever a client where they'll pick and choose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you could give somebody to 30 items to complete a room, and they can say, I'm going to buy these 5 on my own. You do those 25.
Yeah, we give them a full budget. It's an Excel sheet, and it literally rivals like a wedding itinerary. And everything has the item number, the price, it has specifications, it has where we get it from, what location the room. It's numbered L4 for living room, side table. Like, everything is on there. So a lot of our clients will come to us and go, okay, we want to order all the restoration hardware stuff on our own because we get a discount. It's the holidays. We want you to order all the upholstery, blah, blah, blah. That's awesome for us because FYI, a lot of those retail places like restoration, they have great product, but they're a nightmare to work with.
Right.
They're constantly, it's nightmare.
Right.
I have other clients, we just finished a whole house design and they were a young couple, they just moved from the city. And when I met with them, I said to them, do you want to purchase on your own or do you want us to? And they said, well, if we can, we'd like to purchase on our own. We do like a lot of retail companies, this and that. And I said, perfect. I said, so I'm going to gear my selections to that type of resourcing. And there may be a couple of workrooms here and there. I'll give you their information. You can deal with them directly. Everything I selected for them in the package was pretty much a retail or something accessible to them. So when I handed it off to them, they had all the selections, the budget, and basically a shopping list and an Excel sheet. And my work was done. I was able to do the design. It was amazing. I got paid, my front, my back end, and we walked away and it was perfect. And I didn't have to deal with the minutia of like ordering everything. For them, that was good. But I'm not the designer where I'm just like, we need it all or nothing.
Okay. And so then that sounds like to me, in order to be profitable, you're probably charging more on the design end than most other people are thinking and are doing.
Sometimes, and I say sometimes because it is a higher design fee. But in other times I've had designers come to me and they go, Blanche, like our fees are so much bigger. How do you not charge our fees? And I'm like, well, how many projects do you do a year? And they're like, oh, we do like 6 or 8. And I'm like, I'm pulling in 30 to 40 a year. Okay. I was like, I'm working quicker. I work faster than I think a lot of my competitors. I'm able to get things out. We design whole houses in 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. With 3 other people. So
right.
So do you, and you have weekends, and you mentioned that at 4:00, if you haven't done it, you're not going to wait till 9 a.m. to do it. So what's happening in that there, Blanche? Is it that you're not worried, and I don't mean this in a mean way, not worried about, I've heard you before say things like, and this is how I am, by the way, so I'm not coloring it. We don't need to look at 50 sconces. There's. No. I've looked at 5,000 sconces in my 28 years, and I can stand in this room and tell you the 3 on the top of my head. Kimberly does it at my office. We will be in a client's home, chat, all about draperies, and as we walk out to the car, she'll go, I know the exact fabric that's perfect for them. And so you probably have that same skill set where you are not going to search the internet, your catalogs, your showrooms, over and over and over again. You're going to come back and execute a project. Like, look, let's put it together. Yeah,
I mean, listen, it has to be the right thing. And you have to find a few right things to show them. So I don't just show them. I show my favorite, and then I show them like maybe 5 backups, maybe 6. I source a lot very quickly. Within an hour, I can literally find, 20 beds. I can find, 12 nightstands, 10 rugs. I can find a lot. And I'm like, and I sift through and I'm like, hate, love, hate, this doesn't match. This isn't going to be the right price. They're never going to go with that. I'm very quickly like assessing. Even when I meet with my reps, I'm like, love, hate, yes, go. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. So that's how I work. And it's not that I'm picking like mediocre stuff. No, I'm just like, this feels right. This fits with the budget.
You trust yourself.
Of course. And I know when something feels right. I don't second guess myself. I'm like, I don't know. And then I call everybody in and I'm like, what do you guys think? It's rare. Usually I'm like, all right, guys, I picked like 20. These are my top 5s. Anybody hate any of them? And they're like, no, I love this one. I'm like, I love that one too. That's number 1. And as quick as I just said that, that's how we do it.
Okay. So that's critical, and that's a skill, and that's a talent. And like you said, a part of it is your innate nature, I'm sure of it, but it also is the practice that, you needed to be in for the TV shows. There's no putzing around Costa Rica looking for the 15th, lamp.
No. And not only that, you have to know your parameters, like be aware when you're searching what you're looking for, like give yourself the time to be creative. Like when I'm searching for things or coming up with a design, I'll sit sometimes like even at night, it'll be like 9 o'clock at night and I'm on my sofa with a glass of wine and I'm just like going through Pinterest and going through things. And I'm just like, you know what? This client just feels moody. I feel like it needs like a moody, like really big island. I'm feeling like, these type of things. And I start searching and looking and I get inspired. And so I give myself the space to just kind of dream. But then after I've pulled together like my what feels right, then I get into specifics and then I'm methodical. I make a list. I need a nightstand. I need a sideboard. I need this. I need a chair. I need a 30-inch this. I need a 40-inch that. And I pick piece by piece. I'm not like, jumping around. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they have tables. Let's look at Bernhardt now. Ooh, Layla Grace. Maybe that one. Be aware of what takes up time, how you're, we all do things in a certain way. Like think about it ahead of time. What is going to take up less time? Because it doesn't take away from the creativity, right? It just takes away from like all the minutia. It's like having meetings, companies where they have like 5 meetings a day. And before you get to your desk, you're like, I didn't do one thing of work because you were in meetings. So it's just about streamlining and figuring out what works for you and learning your own voice as a designer. What do you like? What do you not like? Who are you? Because then you're able to make decisions in a much succinct manner that's intuitive to who you are.
Okay. Now tell me a little bit about how do you assess the budget? So for instance, you may be at the point in your career now that somebody rarely walks through the door that doesn't understand who they're working with and what they're in for, okay? And I mean that in the best way. But what can you remember back when, or if it still happens, when you are on that first consultation and you're meeting and you're listening and you're understanding, where do you, because you're going to, what happens? So like, all right, I'm like all over the place because I think it's so fascinating the way you are so definitive about everything. So I just, I love it.
If you ask my fiance that, he might say the opposite.
Yeah. So I'm going to recap something that you said, and that will lead us into my question. So what I love is that you said that when you go on that first consultation, you have said to them on the telephone that this first consultation can be one of 2 things. It can be a session where you pick my brain and I give you everything that I think of about your space, but I'm going to leave with a check before that meeting is over. Or the other way I do it is that I come in at no charge and you tell me your issues. You tell me the plans that you have. You tell me the problems that you have, the challenges, and I'm going to listen to you. And I'm going to get to know you. And then I'm going to share with you how my design firm and my systems work and how it is to work with me. So I love that. Okay. So then in that meeting, you're then saying to them, this is how I work. If we go ahead, there's going to be a design fee and I'm going to deliver you all the creatives. I'm going to deliver you that with the budget and all that stuff. And you explain to us how in there do you assess Blanche? Do you throw at them at that moment? For example, I'm going to come back to you with the design plan, the creatives, and the budget. And my guess is that this project is going to be a $60,000 living room or a $200,000 house project. Like, how do you know before you go back and do all that work? You see what I'm saying?
So I do get a sense of it. I don't come out and go, so what's your budget? Because usually when you say to somebody, what's your, well, it's not that, but nobody's going to say it. You're going to be like, what's your budget? And it's like, honestly, being like, how old are you?
Right.
They're going to be like, what? This is weird.
Yeah.
So
they're afraid that you're going to price to it. They're afraid you're going to price to it.
You're going to like blow their money. So I always say to them, like, where do you feel like, do you want custom or you're thinking more ready-mades? This is how an average custom sofa would be. This is how a ready-made, if we went to Macy's or we went to, Restoration or this and that. And so I start gauging with them like different conversation points, like real numbers, bathroom renovations. Okay, so like, just so you know, we just did a bathroom renovation. This is what it ran. So we start talking in realistic terms,
Okay, and so you're assessing their responses.
Yes. And so sometimes even though they don't know, it gives me an idea of where they're at. Now, what I say to them is, listen, if they're like, oh, we want to be very cost conscious, blah, 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 blah. I say to them, okay, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my best and I'm going to find vendors. There's certain things I think you need to spend a little more money on, certain things you don't, like lighting, accessories, even area rugs. I don't really side tables, those are areas that I don't think need to be showstoppers. But then your sectional, your this or this material, this needs to be a little bit more umphy. So we're going to go more workroom with those things. So I let them know that, and we have a conversation about realistic terms with projects I've worked on with the rooms, that applications. And then I say to them, we're going to put a budget together. And in that budget, we're going to give you our best like selections, and we're going to have some backups. So don't think I'm going to bring you one chair and be like, this is the chair, take it or leave it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring you the one I love, the fabric I love. And then I'm going to bring you some backups, ones that we picked, but that we weren't really like as in love with, because it could be an option, right? You're not going to go wrong with any of the ones we pick and we show you. Mm-hmm. And then they can a la carte it. As we start going down the budget, the day that we present, if they don't like some of the numbers, they may say, okay, this makes sense, but why don't we change this? I think we could spend a little less on this, or I would really like it a little nicer, this. I didn't love these. And I say to them, well, that's because these are the options that come within this budget. If you want to spend a little more, you're going to get more options. They say, okay, you know what, let's do that. So we have honest conversations about it. And we have a client now that we're meeting with that it was a little bit more than they wanted to spend, but they loved everything. And they said, we're going to do it in phases. So we're going to do 2 rooms now, and we'll do another 2 rooms in a couple of months. And then I have other clients that say, we love the whole thing, but we want to value engineer down some of the items that you had backups. Let's do this. So I think it's a give and take, and it's an honest conversation.
Have you ever had a situation, well, you have to have had, I'm curious how you've handled it. Have you had a situation where the client feels like your client, the client is your client, you know this client, you know the house, you know the neighborhood, you know the whole, whether you've ever met them before or not, you know who they are, they're your people, right? And in those initial conversation, in that initial consultation where you say, oh, typically another kitchen I just did, 3 streets over was $100,000. And that bathroom for the master bathroom was $20,000. And they're all like on board. They're like, yes, and you. And like, yeah, we've done bathrooms. This is our 3rd time going around decorating this house. You know what I mean? Everything is good. They agree. They do the contract. You do the creatives. You present the budget. And everything seemed right, and now all of a sudden the budget is $250,000, and they look at you and say, we have to take $100,000 off of this.
Well, it goes back to we've had similar situations, and it's gone back to the realities. So we did a bathroom that we're working on that when we walked in, we said, like, listen, they had a price in their head, and I said, that's not going to be the price. I know it's not going to be the price. I'm thinking it's going to be more around this. But again, we have to see where we select things, and we have to see our contractors and whatnot. Our selections were in line. They were actually like not over the top. The husband had a request for one plumbing fixture that was a little insane. He understood that, the budget added to that, and everything else was pretty like simple but nice. I wouldn't go for a project like that. And I explained to him, I said, for a project like this, I wouldn't go less. You're not saving much. You're going to save a couple $1,000s. Where the money came in more was at the contractors. And I said to them, we bid out to 5 different contractors. And when they're all coming in at a similar number, then you're at the number where you're at. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like in our hands where we're like picking crazy things. It's just the contractor price came in much more than we thought. So in that instance, they have to decide whether they even want to do the project or not. In this case, they decided to do it. But you can't change the realities of things, you know, and you have to explain that. Now, if we were picking like tile that was like $20,000, I would see it. Mm-hmm. But on budgetary clients or certain things, we do try to stay in our lane, and we do try to stick with the budget. Sometimes things do go over, but it's also because, you have to make concessions. The client wanted something a little nicer. They fell in love with a certain type of table, or the contractor came in at a certain price. Again, it comes back to communication, and we just have to have realistic conversations with them.
Okay. I love it. Okay. And then I have a question about when someone does go to step 2 with you and they say, yes, here's the Excel spreadsheet, every single line item and all the details are there. You know what, Blanche, would your team just order it for me? How do you invoice that, Blanche? Do you you sit there and say, give me, okay, there's, $60,000 worth of items on here. Give me 60,000, whether they all get delivered in 1 week or 6 weeks, or do you take
No.
payment as you go? How do you do that? How do you manage
I take payment
that?
as I go. I don't
Okay.
like to keep money that's not mine. I do it for certain clients. I have athletes that come to me and they just want to give me a bulk amount of money, and they're like, just get it delivered
Just
in
be
2
my
months.
mommy and just take care of it,
Right.
right?
That's fine. My accountants hate it, but
Yes.
I'll do it. But most of the time, I don't take money that I'm not putting or spending towards something, and I don't spend money I don't have. So I keep my books honest. So I always say to them, okay, perfect. You want to move forward on these items? I'm going to send you an invoice. So I send them an invoice, and I always let them know it's 50% on certain items, and certain items are 100% if it's going to come from a retail place or it's online or you're going to get it in 2 weeks. And so I break down the invoice for that. So it's apropos to what each one gets. So if I have to invoice, for instance, for a sofa, and the sofa labor is 50%, but the fabric's 100%, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
I invoice 100% of the fabric, 100% of my fabric fee, 50% of the sofa labor, 50% of my sofa fee, and then the balance is due when it's ready to ship.
So that's a lot of record keeping if you have a lot of items. That's
Yes.
and so you just
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It's a tremendous amount of record keeping, especially if you have 8 or 10 clients that you are purchasing for at the same time.
Hence why if I purchase, it's like a luxury for them. And I'm like, okay, we'll do it. Because it is a lot of bookkeeping, but I'd
Yes.
rather not have money in my account that I spend that wasn't mine.
Okay. So, and I'm hearing that it's very important to you not to have money that's not yours, and it's very important to you not to spend money that you haven't received. But that's your agreement with yourself. But that does require that does require you at any given moment with 10 projects, you could have literally 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 POs going in and out of your office in a week. So that means
100%. My bookkeeper said that she works with about maybe 15 designers right now. She goes, nobody has the amount of paperwork and detail that you have on yours because we purchase at such a large scale. Let's put it this way. I am one of the few hospitality designers that a lot of my hospitality reps know that actually purchase and design. Usually you use a purchasing company,
right,
and they charge a certain fee.
Mm-hmm.
There's a hotel we're doing right now in Newark that I have a close relationship with them, and they're like, Blanche, we're not paying somebody else to do this. We want you to do this. And I'm like, okay, to do this is what I need. But I've purchased 101 room keys from overseas, different venues, artists from all over the place. I have ones flying in, flooring companies, custom lighting from China, fabrics all over. Like I'm doing, room numbers and towels and bedding. All of it is coming through my office.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's actually kind of insane. So if I'm not super methodical about how I do things, the cookie crumbles, and I can't do that.
Right. And so is one of the other 3 people just a dedicated purchasing person that handles all invoicing and bookkeeping, and not bookkeeping, but all the invoicing and making sure not only design fees are collected, but all of these, 50% deposits are coming in and 50% the balances are coming in?
Luanne, I do it.
Oh, Madonna me.
That's what I do.
I don't.
I need to know what's coming in and what's going out. And there's one other person that touches the purchase orders and just purchase orders, but never the money, never the books. The books are mine. Yeah.
Do you have one day a week that you do all of that, or do you have a certain amount of hours each day that you do all? How do you batch that work?
I just make sure that the time I spend out of the office is balanced with what I have in the office. So, for instance, yesterday I was pretty much in the office most of the day, and today I was out and in. But I'm also really quick with that. So, like maybe when, it's not the whole hotel at once, right? So
right.
We're ordering the furniture, then we're ordering the fabric. But I make sure that, like, if I'm going to dedicate a good 4 to 5 hours to purchasing, that I'm not taking calls, that I'm not, everybody else is kind of like supporting after that. And you just want to make sure you want to do it quickly. Like I'm very quick, I will say that. And that's one of the reasons I'm able to do it. We are in a growth spurt right now where we've just had an influx. We have a lot of projects that are going into installation in the next month or two. The hotel is going to open in the next month or two. We have large houses that we're working on right now. And it's just time management. It really is. I mean, it's rare that I work on a weekend. And if I do, it's like 4 hours that if I really want just my peace of mind, because a lot of people call me and want to connect, and sometimes that can distract you from things.
Right. That's remarkable.
It's kind of crazy.
It's remarkable.
Well, no, that's why I ended up in the public speaking arena. I wasn't like, I want to be a business guru. It
Right.
wasn't really what I set out to do. I just ended up streamlining and taking on more and being methodical and making it quicker and getting things out faster. And my clients started responding. They're like, oh, you want somebody who's accountable, who knows her stuff and blah, 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 go to Blanche. And then the other designers that I worked with on projects, they're like, wait a minute. How are you getting this response, or how are you doing this for taking on this many projects? And we're doing this. And then it just kind of morphed into what's going on right now.
Wow. Really, I have to say, I am absolutely impressed. That's unbelievable. I just can't even fathom it. You have said over and over that you're quick at things, but it's like you must be like a savant at these things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What it says to me is laser focus. That like
laser. Yeah, 100%. I'm very disciplined, like
Yes,
extreme. I'm
I'm
a very
hearing that.
disciplined person. Yeah. And I'm definitely very focused. And once I make my mind up about something, it's getting done. And so, I think that, listen, not everybody's like that, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that it works for me because I made a decision a long time ago that if I wanted my life to exist on a level where I was able to create multi-dimensional, multi-level, and have a happy home life that fulfilled me, and also worked on passionate projects that fulfilled me. And if I want to do so much, then I had to be very aware of where I put my time and where I put my energy, right? Because if I just wanted to kind of like do one or two things, then I would have more leeway. But I have to be very methodical in a lot of things, but I don't like not have fun, and I let my hair down. I mean, I probably went to 5 different parties in the past week outside of the holidays. You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
I have a life. I go dancing, I do things, so it's not like I'm just like work, but I just want to make sure that when I'm at work, I'm using every time, like every minute, to the best possible way, so that when I'm off work, I can really be off work.
That's amazing. I'm really, truly impressed. I really am, because I have a lot on my plate as well, but I'm working a heck of a lot of more hours. And I do feel that I am an intentional, focused person, but I'm feeling like not anywhere near this level. There's no way, because I'm not with my full weekends available. And so I'm going to have to rethink my work life now.
Yeah, I think we always have to. Listen, there are times where it gets out of hand. Like the past 2 months, we were super busy, and I really was struggling with my balance, even me, because I was like, wow, I'm working even more than I'm used to. And I'm like, and I'm taking on, and I get it, it's a work spurt. But Blanche, be very ruthless about who you let in, what you let in, and what you want to work on, and say no to the things that don't make sense, even if it's going to make you more money. If it's not making sense to you, or it doesn't make you happy, or it doesn't give you gratification or bring you to the next level, just don't do it. And so I'm like, my 2018, I was like, just even be more ruthless with what makes you happy,
Wow. That's amazing. Unbelievable. I'm really, that's the third time I'm going to summarize it by saying I'm really impressed.
No, I appreciate that.
I mean,
Thank you.
it's terrific. It's the thing is, what I love about this conversation is that there is a lot of lessons in there on actually how to run your business, let alone the overarching lesson is to be focused in doing it. And so somebody listening, an interior designer listening, that might be a solo and starting out and maybe is going to run $150,000, through their books this year, they're not hitting that point now where they can't take the weekend off without not leaving the work done. Okay. But
Right.
so the thing is that you taught us things in there that are applicable to that level interior designer. But for others of us, like that are more your peers, that we're running, multi-million dollar, revenue companies, and maybe not doing it as efficiently personally as you are. That's a lesson for those of us in that boat. And I thank you for that lesson. I'm going to have to rethink my world now.
No, I think that I'm constantly learning. And that's why, like, listen, when I was starting out, I didn't have a lot of people that I could turn to. And I really think it's important to find your tribe and learn. I'm constantly seeking new information and how to do things better. And I'm being ruthless about what I allow to take up space in my life and what information makes sense to me, right? Because not all of it makes sense to you. So I'm really ruthless with what I allow in. And I just think everybody needs to do that. Like, find your tribe, find the people that teach you the things that make your life easier, more streamlined, and just keep it moving,
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, hands up to you. Really unbelievable. Terrific. I mean, there's the other thing that we didn't get into discussing, and I just want you to tell us the little commercial blurb about it, because it's interesting, is on February 1st. This is okay. We're recording, and this is going to air real time, the middle of January 2018. And so very close after the show airs, you're going to be speaking at the WCAA, which is the Window Coverings Association of America, the New Jersey chapter, on February 1st. And you're going to be speaking about green design and well AP design professionals.
I spoke at their meeting a couple of months ago about social media and business and running your own social media. This conversation that we're going to have, that I'm going to speak about in February, is about green and about well AP.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the small Cliff Notes version is basically, we all know green and LEED, right? It came out 50s, 60s, and it's a whole movement about buildings that are for a healthier environment, building for, the wellness of the environment. Well is basically something that the Delos company came together with Mayo Clinics to put provable benefits to not only healthy businesses and healthy business buildings, but also about the inhabitants within the building and healthy, I would say, workers, healthy residents, and it takes them into consideration, where LEED and green is about, most importantly, air, water, I would say air, water, light. Well takes in nutrition, the mind, the body, emotional, do your workers basically have a space to take a few moments for the day to repose themselves, like a meditation space? If there's cafeterias in your workplace, are the plate sizes really good for nutrition, or are they supersized so people are just loading up their plates? Do you have information about nutrition or options available, or is it one vending machine that has a ho-ho in it in the corner? And that's your option. Is it freezing in the building so that people using the space, they feel uncomfortable and they don't want to stay working longer? But it's also things like, motivational meditation apps included in the workspace, making sure there's an exercise or walk space for the people using the building. If they're traveling, are they traveling too long? Can you put procedures in place to make sure that they don't travel too long and then come back in and they're, worn out? They have to get back to work on the red eye. Are they away from their family? Like, all the things that are in the principles not only take the building and the environment, but the people living in it, and making sure that everybody is happier, they're healthier, and they're well-rounded. So they want to be in these buildings, and that it promotes a healthy lifestyle.
It's something. And when you said it's the Delos company, is that the rug company, Delos Rugs?
No, Delos is a different basically a group of men came together. They were in the stock market, hedge fund. They all came together and they were like, we want to build better. And so on their board is basically Leonardo DiCaprio, Deepak Chopra is on their board. There's a whole island that Leonardo has that is all well, it's a well island, like it's all been well sustainable. They're building a whole community in in Tampa, that's going to be the whole city is going to be well. There's buildings in New York City, Tokyo, Sweden. I mean, it's now popping up all over hotels like the Marriott. I believe it's Marriott. I could be wrong. They have a whole floor of rooms now in some of their hotels that they have. When you stay at their hotel room and you stay on that floor, you basically have meditation apps. You have circadian lighting that when you wake up, it hits different lighting levels so that it's waking you up in a way that's better for your body. Vitamin C shower heads. It has exercise equipment in there. It's making sure that all these different pressure points are hit, the bedding, everything is organic. So they're making sure now that this is now available to the public.
That's amazing. That's
it's
amazing.
Really cool. It's really cool. And so I really tell people, like, start looking into it, because in a couple of years, it's going to be right up there with people talking about LEED.
Well, and it's a nice thing, you know, look, it sounds amazing for all of us as human beings to experience it. But when we think about it from a business standpoint of interior designers, to get involved in something and be on the cutting edge and to be certified like you are, and then to be able to say from a marketing standpoint that this is what you're doing, that's an awesome niche, you know?
Yeah, I just follow my passion. Like it was a really hard test. It's right up there with the LEED exam. It wasn't fun to take it. I'm not a good test taker. I really am horrible at it. I have to concentrate so much harder. I'm dyslexic. And I also, like, I took my GED and went to college. Like I'm not a good test taker. I don't learn that way. So it was much harder for me to sit down and study for it. But it's something I'm passionate about, like just, you know, experiencing design on so many different levels that, you know, I just followed it, and it just happens to be that not a lot of designers out there yet are aware that they can take the test, but it's, you know, it's cool. Look into it. It's just cool.
Exciting.
Wave of the future. Yeah.
All righty.
Cool.
And I looked it up. The WCAA meeting is at the Sumphy location, which is the motorized systems in Sumphy is in Dayton, New Jersey, and you can attend one meeting without charge, without being a member. So the meeting is free. If you are in New Jersey, New York, and you're listening to this and you want to see Blanche speak live, you can do it February 1st, 2018. I would go to let's see, now I should have looked up the website. I think it's the WCAA. This is also, guys, Debbie Pinelli was on the show last year. She is the chapter president for this. So it's WCAANJ.org. And you can come. What it is what they do is they let you come to one meeting free, and if you come to a second meeting, then it's time to join. So, but the membership dues are very, very reasonable, and there's great speakers like Blanche there. So, so if you're interested in that, it's a great place. And if you want to meet Blanche and see this superstar in person, so, all righty. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so thrilled that you shared all of this information with us. And I am in awe of what you're accomplishing, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was really great. And I think that you really asked some deep questions. So we got in there. Really got in there.
That's my superpower.
Yeah, there you go. No, we got deep. We just got real deep there.
That's it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You teach people how to treat you. I have to say, Blanche and I share this philosophy. My mother taught this to me 100 gazillion years ago, and I have repeated it over and over again to my friends, my kids, my employees. You can ask them. It's the truth. I love that when Blanche sees a tendency in a client and she goes ahead and decides to accept them, but she sees maybe a tendency for indecisiveness, or she sees that somehow, some way she gets the feeling that they're going to require a little bit more hand-holding, she teaches them, okay? She tells them up front, you seem like you'll benefit from a few meetings more than my standard 3 meetings, all right? And do you see how this sets the client up to work in her system? Instead of the client signing the document that says 3 meetings are included, and then imposing and begging and whining and insinuating that more should be necessary, when she says it to them right up front, you seem like it might be helpful for you to have more meetings. Here's another 2 at this price, or however she then, finishes that out. The thing is, if the client balks at that point and says, no, not me. The standard 3 is fine. Like, where does that client go And what do they rationalize with if in the process they start to insinuate and infer that they expect another? They go nowhere. That's where they go, because they had an opportunity to agree for more meetings and they didn't. Now, I'm sure at that point she would sell them to them. That's not the point. But the point is there's no expectation and no way she's going to get taken advantage of, because she has taught them how to work within her process. And that's really smart. So what I'd love for you to do is think about your own business. Are there typical points in your process that you feel client after client are, it's the breakdown point, right? It's like every time this happens, then that. Okay. So pull it apart. Are there places that you feel you're consistently sort of giving more than it should be expected? It's outside of the agreement, or there's agreements that are consistently being broken by your client. All right. So give them some careful thought. Take Blanche's tactic to it and see how you could set up a conversation, an agreement ahead of time that teaches your clients how to work with you. I love it. I think it's awesome. The other thing I really love is that Blanche said that she focuses on things that make her happy and make her money. But she followed that right up with, she's ruthless about who and what she allows in, even if it would make her money. So she's always making priority decisions. And that's a big thing, too, as an entrepreneur. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. Just because you have an opportunity doesn't mean you should take it. So she's ruthless about it serving her needs. And for Blanche, her needs are from the spectrum of personal all the way to business. She has established for herself a level of quality of life, a level of downtime, and a level of family time that she's not willing to negotiate on. So it's pretty admirable. All right. The other thing is we didn't even get to touch on the book that she recently wrote. It's called Empowered Design, a Design Plan for Living. I did talk with her a little off air about it before the show, and it's not about where the mirrors go. It's about a design plan for life. Okay. She talks about more about what she was saying in the show about how she's ruthless about her decisions and how I hate to use the words balance because that's a crazy word. It's overused. It starts to not mean anything anymore. But, I think that you get an idea of her philosophy, and if you think it's interesting to you and you'd love to learn more about it, then you could head over to her website at www.bgarciadesigns.com. And I'll just repeat one more time how much I do admire her ability to do so much, to be so laser focused, and I am going to task myself with trying to emulate her a little bit. Alrighty, quick reminder that I will be at the IWCE, the International Window Covering Expo in Tampa this March 2018. I'll be presenting a super session on mastering the high ticket window treatment sale and a joint session with Madeline McCrae on goal setting. Okay. Now, the high ticket window treatment sale. Listen, if you're in the window treatment, if you're a window treatment pro, then yes, this is a no-brainer. This conference is for you. But if you're an interior designer that is looking, thinking, wondering about if you should add window treatments to your mix, and maybe you're not in a position to hire it out. Like I have a lot of designers that hire it out to me. Maybe you want to keep it in-house. You want to do it. This expo is a place to learn more about window treatments. My particular seminar is going to pull apart for you how, as an interior designer, you should not be involved in the box store window treatment business. Okay, it's my personal opinion. There's no money to be made in it for the amount of time that has to be spent in it. Okay, unless you are making your money by the hour doing it, then hey. Live and learn, do whatever you want to do, okay? But if you want to learn how to sell high-ticket window treatments, come on down. I'm going to do I think it's a 3-hour session on it. So we're going to pick it apart, all right? That conference website is www.iwce-vision.com, where you can get all the information on all the speakers. And I'm just going to give you a little teaser that my co-presenter, Madeline McCrae, is going to be on Power Talk Friday this week. So in 2 days, it'll be on Power Talk Friday, and we had a super conversation. She is a very smart lady, and just great energy, and she goes through a goal setting exercise on this Power Talk Friday that is phenomenal. Okay? Alrighty. I just want to also remind you, have you heard that Accredited Inc. has started their year-long celebration of their 100th year anniversary in business? Yes, they did. They started it January 2nd. And this is 100 years being family-owned by the same family the entire time. This is such an accomplishment. This is such an amazing team, an amazing family, and what they have created, built, and sustained is nothing short of less of remarkable. So reach out to Accredited on Instagram and Facebook and congratulate them. Let them know that you listen to the show. Give them some love and some thanks for their part in making this podcast possible. Okay, I say to you all the time, you can always show your appreciation to our sponsors by purchasing from them. That's for sure. But never overlook how nice it is to just reach out and thank them and say, I think it's awesome that you sponsor this podcast because I get a lot of value out of it. So never overlook that people just like to be appreciated in addition to having you do business with them. Okay. But appreciation is a lot of times even almost more desirable, right? All right. Be sure to tag me if you do reach out to Accredited on Instagram. I'm at Luanne Negara. On Facebook, I'm at A Well-Designed Business. Thank you so much for joining me today. If the show is helping you grow your business, please share it with a friend who you think could use help in his or her own business as well. Have an excellent day. Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.